and welcome to CraftWorld Live. I am so pleased to have you here. It is a different day to usual. Usually you'll see me at 1 o'clock on a Friday, and you will still see me at 1 o'clock tomorrow, but today we've got an extra special live for you. So we are introducing to you, not only have we got the brand new Sizzix Chapter 3 products now on CraftStash, but we've got an amazing offer on some of their selected tools and some of their surfaces as well. Now if you don't know what I mean by surfaces, I'm going to show you a few of those. I've got some demonstrations, and we've got some brilliant video demonstrations from the lovely Josh from Sizzix demonstrating those brand new Chapter 3 dies. So thank you for joining me. I've got you all up here, so I'm now going to have a look and see who's joining us. It's actually unusual. You can see I'm back in the studio today, back in the office where we usually come from, rather than my living room, which is fantastic. I've got lovely Shana helping me today, so actually in the room with me, so I can now read comments to you and I can start replying to you again, so I don't need 8 arms like an octopus anymore. So I have hello to Laurie, hello to Kaz. I'd love to know where you're writing from as well. We've got you both on CraftStash. We've also got you over on CraftWorld, sorry, on CraftStash on Facebook and on CraftWorld. So let me know which platform you're watching from. Let me know whereabouts in the world you are as well. And please do be tagging and sharing with your friends too, because we love to make sure nobody misses all these special deals and offers. So hello Benita, hello from Sweden, Fiona from Scotland. We've got you from everywhere at the moment, haven't we? Lynn Clifton, we often see you joining us, thank you so much. Same with Sharon Ling, it's a late night here in Australia, so hello to you. Thank you so much for staying up and being with us. We've got people from South Wales, someone else from Sweden actually. Cheryl, hello so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll come back to some of your welcomes. You're all scrolling in at the moment, and there's loads and loads of them. So glad you're joining us. Now, Sizzix have been around for a very long time, and I actually remember my very first cutting machine, die cutting machine, was a Sizzix one. Okay, that was a very long time ago. Anyone remember the little red sidekick? That was Sizzix. Okay, so this is how long they've been around, forever. They are a huge brand, and we are so proud and honoured that at CraftStash we can have them, not only have the full ranges, but also have amazing deals and offers on for you. So today you're going to be able to save 10% on Sizzix tools and Sizzix Surfaces. Now, what does surfaces mean? I mean, is that just paper? Is it cardstock? So if we just have a look on my desk, I've got a few things here for you to show you. So for shrink plastic, for example, have you used shrink plastic before? And if not, why not? Because this is an amazing product. Now, it's not much to look at. I get that. It looks like white paper, but this is fantastic. I am actually hoping after Josh's demonstrations to be able to actually demonstrate this for you and show you exactly what happens with shrink plastic and how you can be using it to create the most amazing embellishments. So we have this at the moment. Let me check my prices. I've got so many prices because these are all really, they've all been lowered right down. So usually $7.49, and now this is $6.49 because of course you're getting that reduction on it. So you're getting 10 sheets there, and they are large sheets. You've got on one side they're matte, on one side they're shiny. So you can stamp on them, you can ink them, you can do your writing, you can die cut this as well. Then another surface, so this is Stencil Film. Have you ever thought about making your own stencils or your own masks? Because this is absolutely perfect for that. Again, I'm showing you a white packet. I know it's not exciting, but you can see how large it is. It's like your A4 or American letter size sort of size here. So 10 sheets of stencil film in here. You can, again, die cut this. You can hand cut this if you want to. Create your own masks and stencils. You can then reuse them as well if you want to. So this is also reduced down. So this is from $5.49 usually, amazing price anyway, all the way down to $4.99. So absolutely brilliant. Now, this is brilliant. I'm going to come back to these and demonstrate these in a little while. I just want to give you an idea of what we mean by that 10% off surfaces. This foam is amazing if you love making your own handmade flowers. So it die cuts. You can actually, I have embossed this before as well if you're not heating it, but you can heat it and it will be really pliable. You can then mold it, you can shape it to create the most amazing flowers. I've got here an example of the springtime colours, but I think there's about 4 different colour ranges on the website, and they are all reduced down as well with that 10% off. I've also got here some board for you. So this is the mixed media board. We've got both white and chipboard, or like grey board in here. Again, you can die cut these with those big Sizzix dies easily. You can make your own chipboard albums out of these. They are, can you hear that? It's like chipboard. It's absolutely fantastic. It absorbs your texture pastes, your inks, all of that. You can do your stamping, your heat embossing, all your mixed media techniques on it. That is absolutely a staple if you've ever thought about having a go at mixed media. So that's in there as well. We've got all sorts. You can see on my table here, we've got an awful lot going on. Now, talking about an awful lot going on, we've had lots going on. Did you join us the rest of this week? We have had, on Tuesday, I had my What's Hot. Now, did you join me for that? Because that was absolutely, I mean, it's a phenomenal half an hour where I give you the most amazing deals. This week, for the second week running, we had 20% off things. So don't forget to join me next Tuesday as well. We've also had Phil Martin on Tuesday. He did a masterclass. We had Lynette Jasper as well from Pretty Gets Gritty. She joined us yesterday for a masterclass. Actually, this mixed media board, I'm sure she would absolutely love that with those techniques. You'll see them, they all use their own products, but they also bring in very often tools from Sizzix because they are a crafter's staple. We've got heat guns, we've got flower forming tools, we've got things like your pokey tools and your scissors and all of this on the website as well, all 10% off. Don't forget to check that out. That is on CraftStash. As soon as you go onto CraftStash, you'll see these banners flashing up. You'll be able to easily navigate to where they are. But if you're struggling, if you're already into the site, go to the bargain section. You'll have everything that I'm talking about today in that bargain section. 10% off Sizzix tools and Sizzix Surfaces. So I said to you, we have got the lovely Josh. I wish he could be here with me. I'm sure he wishes he could be here with me. But we have got a video from him now. This demonstration is coming to you from Josh with this brand new Chapter 3 from Sizzix. So enjoy.
Hello and welcome to this CraftStash Live. My name's Josh. I'm a designer at Sizzix. And today I wanted to show you some of our Chapter 3 dies that we've got in. So I've just taken a snapshot of the dies, some of my favourites, to make some lovely cards with you. We've got the Christmas Deer die, and I've made this lovely card here, a nice Christmassy, wintry card. And I've also gone with, so here we have the winter phrases. That's this die over here, the winter phrases. So all these are available at CraftStash now. These are kind of flipped around at the minute, but if I take them off and show you, we've got a few different kind of Christmassy phrases for Christmas makes. And then we've also got party phrases, which is a very similar die, but this is more summery. I think it says let's party and hello summer. So I've used that one in this card here. Get off there. So this is a more kind of all year round make. You could, have it something summery. You could use this composition on an invite or something like that. It's just a really lovely die, and we've used this here with some of our texture roll. So this is the gold texture roll, which I'm going to talk about later. In fact, I've got it displayed all over my table. These are just some of our making essentials here. These are just a few of our opulent cards. Here you get these in big packs of cards with a big range of different surfaces on here. So in all these different packs, you've got this glitter card here. You've got a matte version here. I'm going to just kind of angle that towards the window so you can see the effect on some of these. We have a brushed metal, pearl, which is a bit more matted. It's less metallic looking. It's really lovely. And then we've got mirror there, which is just very shiny. And we've got that in all these different colours and more. So keep your eye out for those. So as I say, I've got 2 makes to make. So I will talk you through the things that we're using while I'm making this card. So I'm going to start with this lovely hello card. It's just really simple, really classy. And we've used those golds to kind of make it sparkle a bit. But we are using, this is amazing. This is the Fallen Leaves embossing folder here. It's a 3D textured embossing folder. And it looks like this. So the whole thing there is just this really lovely leafy pattern. And I'm going to show you what I've done is I've just cut out a square of our texture roll here, a rectangle, sorry, of our texture roll. Because I wanted to show you the impression that it makes in this. It is amazing. And I'm going to just close that over there. And when we use texture roll, or when we emboss, we just take the top layer off the multi-purpose platform, and we're only going to use one plate there. I'm just really excited to show you the impression that it makes. Yeah. So they say with embossing folders, you put them through a few times just to get that effect, you know, to get the best impression you can. And some advice I've heard is that you can put it through 3 times and remember it because it's 3D. Ooh. And just look at that. So if I angle this, what a fantastic emboss. It's just seamless. But on this card over here, I've just used some of our Agave Sizzix cardstock. Sorry, stop. I'm getting my words mixed up. We've got the cardstock, and I've used a tiny bit of the gilding wax to just bring out some of the impressions in there, those embossed details. So we'll start with this card. What I've done to start with, I've just cut my card base, cut it to size, and then I've cut a strip of the gold texture roll here, and I've cut a strip of the agave cardstock. And what I'm going to do, I don't know, oh there it is, I've got a little spray bottle here. It's a good idea to just give these a little spray with water, because what it does is it loosens up the fibres, stops it from tearing, and it gives a better emboss. So I'm just going to fold that. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to bring it a little bit further down because I want the whole thing to be embossed. With these embossing folders, you actually have a line at the top there where there's no emboss, and that's just where you fold it over. But I want this whole thing to have an impression on it. So there we go. I'm going to put it through the machine now. And I'll just do this twice because it's cardstock this, so it's gonna give a good impression no matter what. But with that little spritz of water, it's giving an even better impression. But just look at that, and that's just in cardstock there. So that's lovely. Now all I've done is I've just made it big enough so that when I stick it down to this piece of gold texture roll, it's going to have a little rim at each side in gold. So that's lovely. Okay, I'll just glue that down. And I chose not to have a rim at the top, so there's no gold at the top and the bottom. It's supposed to kind of just go right up to the top and reach the bottom as well, because I wanted it to go the whole length of the card. There we are, just hold that for a few seconds and let it stick to that texture roll. Then, should I stick it to the card now? Do you know what? I'm not going to, because what I'm going to do is I want to show you how it looks when you put some of that gilding wax on there. I'm just going to highlight just a tiny amount to tie in this gold. I'll get a little bit of scrap card so I can wipe it off on my wipe it off my finger. There we go. So get most of it off, and then just, don't know if you can see that apply in there, but it just picks up those details. You need to be careful not to get it all over. But a good tip is that if you do get it on a piece of card that you don't want it on, the gilding wax, you can take it off with just a normal eraser. There we are. That's enough. That's enough for me. Just wanted to give it a little gold flare. So I'm going to stick that to my cardstock. Oh, it's a good thing it didn't land glue side down. And I'm just going to bring it, it's going to be more towards my left. There we are, I'll put it about here. Just in a nice straight line going all the way down the card. Okay, I'll just hold that on for a sec. There we go. And now I'm actually going to use this piece that I embossed earlier. I've not done this on my other piece, but I'm just going to use this to cut my little hello out of. So I'm going to take that from the party phrases. I'm going to re-layer up my machine and just use that Sizzix sandwich, put it through the machine. And again, this is textural. It is lovely stuff because you can really crinkle it up and you can get it all creased. You can wet it and crease it, and it has a really lovely effect then, but it won't lose its integrity when it does it, so it's not just going to be rip, and that's why I like using it with the phrases. Oh, look at that. So just a tiny bit of glue on there, just going to put that flush down to the card. There we go, just on each little bit that I think might stick up. I've just held it down. And I want to put it somewhere where the sentiment's still going to stand out, so I don't want that, you know, the letters to be going around the gold. I don't want gold on gold because it might not stand out. But there we are. So I've stuck down my hello sentiment. At least I think I have. And that's it with this card. The last thing to finish it off is actually, so this is a kind of Christmassy die set, but I saw one of these little florals in here, and it just shows the versatility of it. I thought that flower actually looks quite summery. So I'm also going to cut this flower from the gold cardstock. And that's just a tiny embellishment that's going to finish the card off. And with it being textural as well, the small hole that's in the die there has come up as an emboss on the card, so it has a little mid of the flower already. This is where your tweezers come in handy. Tiny bit of the express glue, and I'm just going to stick that down over there. Okay, and that's all it is for that first card. So we can see that it's just a really lovely, classy make. So I'd love to receive a card like this, you know, or an invitation where, you know, you have the writing in this kind of calligraphy style. I think the calligraphy style is a lovely thing to have as a die because it's something that I know I'm always trying to recreate myself, but having that die gives it sort of professional quality to a card, which is lovely. Okay, so that's the first card. I'm just going to stick these two here. You might see them while I'm making.
Isn't that absolutely beautiful? That embossing folder is stunning, and I was reading your comments as we were watching that video, and I can see you all loved it too. Now I want to do a personal recommendation, okay? I've loved Sizzix for years, as I said to you, but I noticed that Josh was using, that gold card has come from one of the Surfaces sets, packs of cardstock, and I've actually got one here but in silver, and I really want to, it's actually my own one, it's a used one, but I've got plenty left to be able to show you. I've also got another colour version as well. Now these are also on CraftStash, and the reason I love these is because very often I'll actually use this one under here, and this is the matte version of the silver. Can you see that? That is absolutely stunning. I'll show you in the other colour in a moment as well. But isn't that gorgeous? Can you see the difference? This is your usual sort of silver mirror card. So you see you've got that high shine. You can see our rigging and things around the studio in that. But the matte is absolutely amazing. All of these die cut and embossed beautifully. You saw what Josh did with that gorgeous embossing folder there. They are stunning. Also, so we have all the different sort of mirror card effects. We also have the here, I'll show you this one, the Pearlescent Cardstock included in these kits as well. But then the glitter card is stunning. Now I noticed somebody commented and said, does this glitter shed? Absolutely doesn't. It's kind of almost encapsulated in the paper there. Can you see? If I bring this up here, nothing on my hand at all. It's actually a smooth surface. So if you've got something like your Stays On ink and you want to be stamping and even heat embossing onto this, you're going to get a reasonably clear image from your stamp because it's actually really smooth. It's not bumpy like usual glitter card. Now let me show you the other colour as well, because I've got, I mean, there's lots of different colours, but I've also got the granite or the black version here as well. And this is, again, absolutely beautiful. I'll pull the silver out of the way. This is what we mean by Sizzix Surfaces. Not only are there these, there's also, as I showed you, the stencil film, there's the shrink plastic, we've got the mixed media board as well, but we've also got the foam as well for making your flowers. But then these are essentials, aren't they? Look at these. Let's just pull the 5 different kinds. So you get your 5 different surfaces. They are beautiful, aren't they? So you have your non-shed glitter cardstock here. Again, like I say, it's smooth. It will die cut without damaging your dies as well, which is always a consideration. It will emboss also too, because it's not too thick. It's a cardstock, absolutely, but it's not so thick that you can't emboss it. Absolutely beautiful. Can you see the sparkle on it too? It's gorgeous. And then this is your matte mirror card in this shade. Beautiful. That is like satin. I am in love with this, and the reason I'm recommending these packs myself is because I get so many questions about where did you get that mirror card from whenever I show a matte mirror card, and it's always from these Sizzix packs. Okay, you'll find them online, you'll find them on CraftStash. Just have a look through everything from Sizzix. Now I need to move this about, otherwise you're going to see all the secrets and all the background, or up my nose, from around the studio. But I mean, this is absolutely stunning, isn't it? Gorgeous high shine mirror cards there. Oh, that's some of that as well. And then we have our pearlescent cardstock again. So this is not any ordinary cardstock. Look at the pearly shine on that. And there's actually tiny little flecks of shimmer, which I'm sure you probably can't see. I'm wondering if I can bring that down to our other camera for you, actually. Let's have a look down here. I'm wondering, oh, you can see, look, that looks amazing, doesn't it? Absolutely beautiful, beautiful cardstock, like nothing I've seen before. And I love that you get the entire pack with everything in for you. So you haven't got to choose between the different surfaces. So let's just have another look at one of the other surfaces before I move on to the tools after the next video. So we have got here the foam, and I will be doing a demonstration with this after Josh's demonstration. Okay, I'm going to be doing the foam, I'm going to be doing the shrink plastic as well. I think that's all that. Oh, and some embossing powders. There's an amazing embossing powder bundle on today. It's down from £60 to, I'm going to double check my price, £45 for 20 embossing powders, and they are the most amazing colours. So this is your foam. Let me roll all of this out for you. Look how much you're getting. This is like your flower forming foam and such. This is what you're going to be heating up. Now you can either heat it up with a heat gun. We have the tools on offer as well. All the tools are 10% off. But with this you can heat it with a heat gun, or you can actually mould it as well with the warmth of your hands. You just use your hands, use the heat from them, just squeeze it and then sort of play with it a little bit and shape it. Gorgeous. So we have the green, we have the yellows, and we have the 2 pinks. Now this one's a bit shorter because I've been using this for my demonstration. This is just one colourway, but you can see how much you're getting. 5 colours. They're huge sheets all together, and there's lots of different colourways available today. So these are what we mean by the surfaces. So please do make sure you go and join them. Now Josh has done us another demonstration. We're really grateful because we absolutely love all of his tips and techniques. So this is that reindeer card that you saw at the beginning of the last video. So I hope you enjoy this one just as much.
I love this deer. So it is almost like a colorized. You build it up, it comes in lots of different parts. You can see the die set here, how many dies you actually get in here. I haven't counted them, but we've got 2 different reindeers. Each of them, you can build it up in whichever colours you want. You might go for a darker brown reindeer, or you might want to do a grey reindeer, or you might want to do a blue reindeer. Anything that you want to do, you can do it. You just cut all the different colours out and you layer them all up, which is lovely. So this reindeer here is obviously not Rudolph, because I've not given him that red nose, because I was discussing with my partner earlier that Rudolph gets a lot of the credit, whereas he is part of a team. But I have chosen to build him up as Rudolph in my next make there. So all I've done is I've just added a little red nose on there. I've also brightened up his antlers in this one, so this just shows the different things that you can do with them. I have built it up off camera because These take time. You want to take your time with a die like this, so you can just choose which elements to build up and add and what colours you want. It's worth taking the time to just build it up. So I've already pre-cut this reindeer and I really love it. You also get another reindeer that's just slightly taller. So if you wanted a scene with 2 reindeers, then you can have that, and it's really lovely. So how did I start this? Oh, I want to show you this nice inking technique. I could use the blending tool, but we're not going to use it today because we're going to go for a slightly different technique here. I'm going to cut, I've got a circle framelit here, so I'm making this card. Now this is going to be the moon, this circle framelit. So I'm going to cut that out first of all before I ink it. A lot of the time if I'm applying ink to something, I tend to apply the ink to the paper or the card and then cut around it with a framelit. But this time we're going to do it slightly differently just because it works better. I should mention here that this is the Soft Touch from our Ivory Opulent range here, and it is just off-white, which makes for a really lovely card, especially if you don't want that brightness in a card. It just tones it down a little tiny bit, and it's great. So here we are, we've got this lovely circle for the moon, and I've taken some distress ink here. I've gone for a yellow, and I'm just going to apply that directly to the mat like this. Give it a spritz. And you know what as well, in our Opulent range, there is one type of card, which is the mirror card, which you can actually use as a craft mat because it does the same thing with, so this is my little craft mat. I like it because it makes, when you give it a spritz, it makes all the colours turn up in little beads here, so it's like bubbles, and it does the same thing on this mirror card, and you can actually wipe it clean as well because it's quite robust, quite durable, so it wipes clean like that. So that's another use for that card if you didn't have a craft mat going. So now this soft touch stuff, it just picks it up really well, so we want it to have these little bobbles of yellow all around there because we're going to be creating a bit of a random pattern to look like a moon. I don't want to go too mad, but I want it to be quite well covered, and this is where my heat tool is going to come in handy. I could leave that to dry, it does take a while to dry, but because I can be quite impatient, I like to use the heat tool. Lovely thing about the heat tool as well, it's dual setting, so you can have it on a lower heat, which gives a slightly different effect, because when you dry it with the high speed, it can push the ink around. Oh, look at that, the lovely moon effect. Okay, so that is going to go onto the front of my card here. So I want it a tiny bit towards the top because this deer is going to kind of be standing in front of the moon. So I'm going to make sure it's even. It's going to be framed about here because we want room for the sentiment below. Okay, so that's stuck down nicely. I need to find my foam tape before I finish this. I'll find it as I'm talking. Now we've got a little tiny bit of inking to do. I'm going to use, what I've got here is just a strip of our stencil film, and as you can see that I've done here, what this is supposed to be sort of the shadow coming from the moon of the deer, and so it's coming towards us, so it's getting a bit wider, and I've done that by just inking one side, not very much at all, and then taking it off and then doing the same thing on the other side there. I'm going to try not to get the bottom of the moon there because it will make it a bit blue. We don't want that. Lovely. Okay, now, can I find, oh there we go, I put it away. That's not like me. I'm going to stick my little reindeer from the Christmas day down, and I'm going to just have it stand out a tiny bit using some of this foam tape. And what that does is it really kind of shows you where you're supposed to be looking sometimes. So the kind of the star of your card should be the focal point, and I feel like the foam tape really makes it just stand out. So it's a lovely thing to have. Here we go. This is where I spend 20 minutes trying to peel the back off the foam tape. Ah, there we go. I've done it. I don't give myself enough credit. Here we are. So I'm going to stick that pretty much dead center in the card. And you can see how it's already just standing out in front of that moon. So that's great. Now all is left to do is I'm going to cut, so I'm going to choose the Noel Sentiment. That's going to go underneath here. Some of you probably thought that the deer's name was Noel. This is Noel, French for Christmas, which is a lovely sentiment to have. I'm going to cut that out of some of our silver texture roll. Here. One thing that is a good thing to have when you're using texture roll is the washi tape, so the maker's tape, because as you're putting it through the machine, when you're positioning things, it might kind of be a bit curved because it's more of a robust material. It can be hard to position it, but having some maker's tape makes it a lot easier, so you can just hold it in place. There we are, so there's our sentiment underneath. And last but not least on this card, which is the piece de resistance, we've got some of our beads and sequins here. So you can see these star elements here, they are sequins. And if I'm turning this around, can you see that they're shiny and they change colour? So when I was sending this through to other designers to show them, they were, you can't tell. Sometimes it looks pink, sometimes they look a bit yellow, sometimes they look silvery, but it always matches the colour palette because we have it as part of our colour theory. So I'm going to add those in a sec, but first I'm just going to stick that down because I've made a card base. Again, this is some of our silver opulent, this is the glitter, really lovely stuff. And I've just chosen to make a border around it with some of the bluebell cardstock. And then I've just cut this slightly smaller so we can still see that opulent through. And it ties in with the other silver. So I'm going to stick this down now. There we go. Ooh, right, dead center then. Perfect. Okay, so you'll see now how these little stars, I love the fact we have the tiny ones and then we have the bigger ones here. It just creates a really nice illustrative feel, because it just adds a bit of liveliness to the make here. So I'll just spill some of these out. Oh, a bit too many, but at least it shows you what these look like. And I'm going to use my stencil film just to put a bit of glue on because I think it works well just having something, when it's very, very, very small. Sometimes I'll just put a blob of glue down and then just use that to apply it. Ooh, and sometimes I stick my finger in it by mistake, but that's okay. And then you can get the rest of the glue off then as well, so you're not getting it onto your make. So quite random, we can stick these round. on there. But I don't want to go mad with these. I'm just going to add a few, just to some key areas that you can just tell that you need something in that area. On there, and I think I'll do one more. Let's stick one over this side. I bet all the, you designers at home watching can already tell where I'm going to put this next little sequin just to balance it out. And that's it. So the last thing to do is just to stick this down. If anyone's recreating these at home, you can be a bit more careful than I can. There we go. So I've framed this card 3 times really. We've framed it just with the white card base, with the bluebell cardstock, and then in between there with our glitter from the Silver Opulent range there. Okay, so there we have it. A lovely Christmas card that. It's just really fresh, it's modern, it uses fun techniques as well. This die set is just amazing. I really can't get enough of just building these up and choosing my colours, and I like cutting all the bits out and then just having a look and deciding what colours I'm going to use. It's fantastic, it's so much fun. And that's it from me today. So I'd like to see everyone having a go. Oh, something loud's going on outside. I hope it's not coming through on the video, but that's one of the perils of working from home at the moment. And on that note, I hope everyone's still staying safe, I should say, and I hope everyone's enjoyed the video. So I'll see you next time.
Another absolutely amazing demonstration. So you see that Josh uses very often his Big Shot, of course. Many of us actually have had Big Shots for many years. If you haven't, and you've always wanted to get your hands on one, we have the most amazing deals on them at the moment. So I've got my little one here. I say my little one, this is just falling out all over the place. This is my Big Shot, and then I've got at home Big Shot Plus as well, because you can never have too many die cutting machines. These are brilliant. Die cutting, embossing, everything. Now we've got a few different deals for you. I'll give you the prices. So this one here, the actual starter kit, which comes with all the bits and bobs you can possibly need, this is down from usually £130, and considering how long these last, that's an amazing price. But if you go on CraftStash at the moment, because we've got these amazing deals, that's bringing this down to £87, £86.99. That comes with all the plates you need as well, and you're well on the road to getting amazing die cutting and embossing from it. We've then got the Plus starter kit also. That is down from, so that's the big one. The Plus one is the A4 one. So if you're doing things like Sam Calcott's Made to Surprise dies, Helen Griffin's dies, her large ones, Simply Made Craft ones, they're always usually big. You need your bigger machines for those. That is down from £199 usually, okay? I didn't realise this price until I've just seen it there. £122.99, okay? That's actually less than the smaller one is usually, okay? So grab that. If you need a new die cutting machine, there's a few different options there, different sizes and things, but I absolutely love these. In fact, when we go on things like Hochanda, many of us take our Big Shots with us. They have been around for such a long time, that just screams the quality, doesn't it? I'm going to use mine in a moment, and what I'm going to be using mine with is shrink plastic. Okay, so I've got a few different things here, but I was talking to you earlier about the shrink plastic, so about the surfaces that you get from Sizzix, and this comes in a pack of 10, and they're actually A4 in size. I've just cut mine by hand down to a smaller version of what I need. Now, this has 2 different surfaces. It has the really shiny glossy side, and then it also has the matte side. Now the matte side is absolutely perfect if you want to do your stamping and your inking with water-based inks, okay? If you want to use solvent inks that you know are going to dry on a shiny surface, you can absolutely, of course, use the shiny side. Now I love this because no other shrink plastic I've seen before has the option of this matte side. but the matte side only shows up, it shows up on one side when it's melted, not both. So I'll show you what I mean by that and how I would just do this very, very briefly, a quick demonstration of the shrink plastic in case you've never seen it before, because some people have actually sort of scared away from it in the past because they may have found it hard to use. And years ago, the older shrink plastic was a little bit harder, but you know, Sizzix have made this so easy for us now. And as well, children love doing this as well. They're blown away by it. So just got some distress ink. Okay, so this is just a water-based ink. I'm just going to rub it into that white frosted side of the cardstock. And I'm not going to do it all the way over either. I'm just going to do 2 corners, for example. And I'm just going to do a little bit of blending. Not too much blending because, to be honest, this is going to shrink down. And then we're not really going to be able to see a lot of the blending because it's going to be so small. What I love about this is you can make your own embellishments, your own charms. If you do journaling, you can make charms for your pens and for your journals as well. If you can make buttons for your cards and things like that. So you see I've just done some brown there. It's the same colour as the matte. There we go. You can see I've got some brown on the 2 corners there. Very, very roughly. Now that doesn't have to be brown. That's just an ink pad that I had to hand. This can be absolutely any colour of ink or alcohol pens, for example, that you want them to be. Then you can take either your scissors and you can cut this into a shape, or you can take a die. Now I have to say, and I know this is a Sizzix show, but you don't have to use Sizzix dies to cut Sizzix shrink plastic. So all those dies you've already got at home, whether they're the thin metal ones, whether they're the bigger plastic cased ones, you can be using those now to make your own embellishments, but obviously much smaller than the die is. So I'm just going to bring in my big shot here. There we go, and roll this out. So I'm using, like I say, the smaller one. This is great for travelling when I'm going around doing my crafting. And I'm just going to place my die. I'm going to cut this in exactly the same way as I would be cutting paper. Okay, I'm not changing my plates. I'm not putting any special shims in there. As always, I always go backwards and forwards. There we go. Take this out, and that has cut through that plastic perfectly. Okay, so pop the die to the side. I couldn't even tell you what brand that die was, but essentially all those dies you've got at home you can now be using to cut this shrink plastic. Okay, think about your sentiments. Think about the most gorgeous little sentiment charms you can now be making. Now, if you've never seen this, okay, I'm wondering whether I can do this with this other camera actually, because it'll be a little bit closer for you. Let's see. We've got the lovely Shana on cameras there. So I'm sure she can get that. So that's about in the middle. Hopefully you can see that a bit clearer than you'd see it if we were coming from above. I'm just bringing my heat gun as close as I can for you. Now, of course, I'm using the Sizzix heat tool. This has 2 settings, so 2 speed settings. So you can go really hard and fast with the hot air, or you can do it a little more gentle if you want to. And I've just got myself a pokey tool, just something so you don't have to have your hands in the way of the heat. Doesn't matter either which side you're heating, okay, the shiny or the matte, but what you want to do is just gently hold it in place with something like a metal. If you don't have a pokey tool, just a fork or something you've got at home, keep your hands safe. Now, while I'm heating this, you may not hear me quite as well because of course heat gun does produce a bit of noise, but all I'm going to say is just watch it and just trust the process, okay? Don't stop until that has completely shrunk at all angles and it will flatten itself out again. If you just watch for a moment, you'll see what I mean. Okay, wait for this to heat up because of course this hasn't been on for a moment, so wait for it to get warm. Now that takes usually 20 to 30 seconds for it to get warm and start reacting to the plastic. I could have chosen a better matte, couldn't I? A better coloured matte, really. There we go, so we can see that end starting. So if you come away from this end and let that cool and come up here, for example, and start shrinking this bit, you can go back and continue any area. So I do keep the heat fairly even across the whole thing. Make sure that you're doing the edges as well, and it will crinkle up. Now that's lovely. If you want to stop there and create your own flowers or something, you can do. But just keep the heat on there, making sure every part of this plastic is getting heated up as you work. See, I'm not really moving the pokey tool at all. I'm not pressing down, I'm just hovering over so that it doesn't move, it doesn't get blown away anywhere. And see, now it's flattened itself out. I'm just going to keep that heat tool on there for a moment till that's finished flattening out. Make sure all those edges are done nice and evenly. I'm hoping you can still hear me. Should be able to. And then I'm just going to take something flat and just press onto it for a second, and that's just the top of my ink pad there, just for a second, and then let me, there we go. I mean, that's still warm. We've got a beautiful marbled effect heart there. If I hold that, you can see that heart shape. On the other side, it's the matte, so it looks like a stone or a pebble that's come off of a beach. Let's bring that a bit closer so you can see that. It looks like it's a gorgeous pebble. Now you can stamp into this, so you can put your own wording into it, and that will all shrink perfectly in proportion. You've got the shiny side too as well. You can do your own embellishments with whatever stamping and whatever die cut you want to, but I love particularly that matte side. Now I've got another smaller one here, and this was one that I hand cut and I coloured in using, let me just get a bit of white behind that just so you can see the colours. I coloured this in using alcohol pens. So I just scribbled on a piece of shrink plastic. Hopefully you can see the blues, the greens, the purples in there. And then I hand cut that out and shrunk that in exactly the same way. So you've got lots of different options. Now they're just some hearts. You can do, like I say, buttons, you can do sentiments. It's entirely up to you. So that's how shrink plastic works, okay? So there's one example for you from that Surfaces collection. Talking of the surfaces, actually, we did have a comment earlier, and I think it was from Lynn, if I remember rightly, asking about the weight of those opulent cardstocks that I was showing you. They're these ones with the no shed glitter and the matte mirror card. Now, because there's different cardstocks, there's no one particular weight for the whole pack. But I'm going to guess, as a crafter's guess, I would say they range from around about 180 to up to about 250 for the thick pearlescent cardstock. So that's a rough weight for you. So if you wanted to do boxes, I would say yes, absolutely, that would be strong enough to do your boxes and to be your card bases as well. But on the other hand, they're also the right thickness for die cutting and embossing. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit, because I understand it's sometimes not as easy to see the thickness of a cardstock. Now I'm going to be using my heat tool again in a moment, and we're just going to do some flowers. Now, using this sculpting foam, like I say, you can do this in two ways. You can hand cut it or you can die cut it. I'm actually going to cut these ones by hand, but any dies again you have at home will cut through this beautifully in the same way as you would with your paper. And you can use the heat from your hands to very gently shape and mould it if you want to, or you can use your heat tool to really make it quite impressive and quite curly and shaped. So just taking a pair of scissors, now I'm just going to do myself a flower, and I'm just going to cut some circles. Okay, they're nothing special, they're wibbly edge ones as well, and that's a technical term, by the way, wibbly edge. Just like that, just little blobs, okay? Going down smaller and smaller in size as well as I work, so that I get some layers within my flowers. This particular flower doesn't have a name. I couldn't call it a rose or a peony or anything. It's just a Sizzix flower. There you go. It's going to be a Sizzix flower. So I'll do 3 layers. Now again, I don't want any sharp edges, so curve that off. Always save this. You never know what you might want the little scrap bits for. Again, on a heat resistant mat to protect your surface if you've got one. What I have to hand usually is a piece of foam. Now, Sizzix do an amazing toolkit, particularly for shaping flowers and things. That is also within those offers, so make sure you check that out in that bargain section today. But if you don't have the kit, or you're only just starting to dabble in making flowers, a piece of foam you can work with, and really your hands will do the job just as well at shaping and constructing those flowers for now. Once you start working with these tools though, you'll be blown away at the different shapes you can make. So we're going to need to heat these again, and we're going to work quite quickly. You'll see these are much quicker than with the shrink plastic. So as I hold the heat over them, I'll put the other 2 to the side so they don't blow away. I'm going to hold that down in the middle with my pokey tool again, and you'll see the edges will start to curl up very quickly. So just on the first setting, I'm just using setting number 1, which is the lower of the settings, and already I can see that's sort of flattened out, and you can see there that's then starting to curl up those edges. And before it cools down, I can press it down into that foam. So that has just gathered around my thumb, Let me just bring that to the other camera for you. So you can see what I've done. Just press my thumb into the foam. Now, there we go. Look at that. So as that's cooled, it takes about 5 seconds to cool. I've got myself one layer of petals already. So I'm just very quickly going to do exactly the same with these other two. One at a time. Like I say, you don't want anything to blow away. I love this foam, and I love that you get the different colour options as well. So just heating that up, all nice and soft to play with. And the great thing about this as well is if you find that you've actually not worked quick enough and it's cooled down in a shape that you don't really like, you can go back and you can reheat it and soften it up again. You can keep repeating this. Don't hold your heat on for too long because you can burn it eventually. It'll just start to get a bit brown and a bit hard. So, oh, that's burnt. So just be gentle. As soon as you start to see it shaping itself, lifting and curling up at the edges, then it's ready for you to start shaping. And like I say, have your foam to hand. And I'm going to use my little finger for this middle one to encourage it to be a little bit tighter with the petals there. So I've done this with quite a few layers already, but with these I'm just going to bring in my Sizzix glue, which is an amazing glue. I do love this as well, and I'm just going to layer them one on top of the other with a little blob of glue. So this foam, you don't need a special glue with either. You can use your white glues at home, so it's not as if you need anything other than what you would use for your paper crafting. So if I show you that so far, you can see we've got the layers in there. It's looking beautiful. I've got one here that I've already done, and what I've done with that, actually, let me bring that down to the closer one for you so you can see that. So, well, there we go, a bit close for you. So that's just very, very quickly. Now imagine if you started adding in your ink around the edges, for example, because the foam will take ink. You could stamp like a texture or some script or something on there as well if you wanted to. That would be really, really beautiful. Now what I'm going to do with this is the next stage is for me to place it into a dome. Now we have these domes as well, they are available. So these domes, they were $5.90, they're usually $5.99. Okay, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're amazing for making shaker cards and things very, very easily. You don't need to be cutting apertures into your cards anymore or using acetate and double-sided tape and all these. It's all included in here. But from $5.99 for 8 of them, these have gone down to $5.29 because you're getting that that 10% off. So if you just see, oh, I've already got one out, but you can see how they sit in there. So here's one. Now I'm going to place that over my flower, and I think this is just a really pretty way of encasing a flower. Now I'm also going to very quickly cut myself some leaves to add in addition. Now cutting leaves is really simple. You just need, well, you can see, you just need like a teardrop shape there, just two. I'm going to hold these together with a pokey tool, warm them up till they start to curve very slightly, just little, and that's it. I'm not going to shape these. I'm letting that natural curl that they've got from the heat just sit. And then I'm going to put these in the middle of a card. Now I'm not finishing this card off because what I really want to show you as well very quickly before we finish is the embossing powder. So I'm actually going to leave this flower and these leaves inside here loose. So a little bit of glue on the back of the flower, just a touch to attach the leaf to the flower, and the same on the other side, just like so you can just see those leaves. And then I'm going to sit that onto my card. That leaves come loose a little bit, but that will be fine. And I'm going to use my dome, but I've got like a double-sided tape already attached there, so I haven't got to think about gluing and things. So just tuck everything in to the dome, stick that down, and you've got yourself like a real dimensional flower encased in that dome, which is really pretty. Like I say, you start adding, maybe you could put some glitter in there as well if you wanted to. Cover that round the edge with some pattern paper if you want to also, and you have got yourself an absolutely beautiful card that's very, very different. Alternatively, of course, flowers like these you can be using to make jewellery, for example. They would be weatherproof, they would be even washproof. As long as you're not using heat in a cold wash, that'd be absolutely fine because it's foam. So that's really, really good fun to use those. And like I say, shaker cards, amazing. So lastly, I did mention earlier that we had an absolutely fantastic embossing powder bundle. Now, they are 50 tubs of embossing powder. Okay, now these are beautiful. These colours in particular are stunning. They've got a glitter to them. But the bundle at the moment, 50 of these has gone down from, I think it was 59, let me just double check, 59.79 for, sorry, 20 pots of embossing powder. I'll get all my numbers right. They've gone down now to just under £45 for 20 pots. These are, look, they're good sized pots as well. So it's an amazing, amazing price. So I'm going to show you just these two colours because not only do they work beautifully on white, they also work amazingly on black. And I'm yet to come across many embossing powders that really show up on black like these ones. So I'm not going to do stamping or anything, I'm just going to do a swipe for you. And this is, for me, a really easy way of working out my colours. I always do this on black and I do it on white as well whenever I get a new colour. So look at this. Gorgeous, gorgeous colour. That is stunning. Let me just heat that very quickly. I will have to swipe again. There's so much glitter and shimmer in this. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So again, this just needs to heat up. Heat embossing is the thing that got me into crafting first, before I'd even discovered any sort of paper crafting. I actually saw a demonstration somewhere, somebody heat embossing something, and I was just absolutely mesmerised by the melting of the powder. If you've never tried it before, maybe you're quite new to crafting, absolutely have yourself a heat tool. You'll need an embossing ink. Some people call it a sticky ink, but it's basically an ink that stays wet for long enough for the powder to hold on and be heat set. And then you need special embossing powders as well. So this is set, I think. The great thing is as well, if it's not completely set, you can go back over it. Now this was just a swipe, as you saw, of my embossing pad. Let me bring this closer for you so you can see that colour is amazing, absolutely beautiful. That is shimmery as well. I know it's hard to see because it's not a solid colour there with the swipe, but that is absolutely beautiful. Now that's on white, and you can imagine this purple on white is just as vivid as well. But what about on black? Okay, I need to show you these. So I'm going to just show you on the edge because I can dip these in and they'll be a lot cleaner to clean up. So let me heat set this and show you on black. Already you can see that looks nice, a nice strong colour. Wait until it's melted and it just shows up so vividly. So don't forget, today in the bargain section we have our 10% off of Sizzix tools, 10% off of Sizzix Surfaces as well. We have absolutely amazing deals on the Sizzix die cutting machines, so the big shot. Look at that on black. I wish I could really show you how amazing that colour is, and it's shimmery. There's no way to show you without seeing with the naked eye, it really is, but you can see how vivid that colour is. The purple works in exactly the same way. It's extremely bright and absolutely stunning, stunning colour. Now I think I'm getting towards the end of this hour. I can't see a clock anywhere, I've completely guessed it, but we'll go with it. It's around about an hour, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed watching Josh and his amazing demonstrations and techniques. I hope I've given you a little bit of an insight into some more of those Sizzix tools and the surfaces that we have available at CraftStash. Please do check out that bargain section because those deals don't hang around for long, because we all know Sizzix are such a huge brand. They do fly out of the door whenever we have offers on them. But I can't believe the price of those die cutting machines. If you need one, if you've been thinking about getting one at all, this is absolutely the time to go and have a look at having a big shot in your craft room, on your travels, whatever you need for the size, we've got the right machine for you. So check those prices out, and tomorrow I will be back with you. I am back in the studio, but I will hopefully have Sam Calcott with me via video call. She can join us with her brand new collection, so made to surprise. You are going to absolutely love it. We of course will have a massive giveaway as well, so please make sure you're joining us for that. I cannot wait to see you again 1 o'clock tomorrow. Happy crafting everybody. I'll see you soon.